Okay. Is it better now? I joined the audio from my mobile. Okay. Can any one of you speak, because I'm not able to hear?
Yes, you are. It's more good.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the trouble. Yeah. Okay. Let me start sharing my screen once again. Okay. Yeah, I will use this way from tomorrow onwards. Okay. And let's try to ping me the questions. I think your voice is not so. It might be cutting if you guys are talking on this. Yeah. So once you download your Scala installation file, and once you set up, click on that, install next. And once you get this inside program file, you'll find the bin directory, and take this bin directory into environment variables, add it into the path environment variable. And how can you find your environment variables? Just search and on environment variables, edit system environment variables. And once you click on the environment variables in the path, so here you can find this path environment variable, and you can find all other bin folders are included in this along with them. So you should make sure that. So you also add your, just click on anywhere, add, and paste your path. Okay.
Okay.
I don't have path. I can create a new one, right? And then add this bin directory.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. So once you have that, you can access your Scala from the command prompt. So if you go to command prompt, so type Scala C or Scala -version something. So Scala core runner version is 2.11.7. Okay. So if you are getting a response, that means Scala is installed properly. And so unlike your Java, you have shell interaction with your Scala. So if you want to enter into Scala shell, just type in the Scala command. It will be entered into your Scala shell, and you can start practicing your Scala code. Just try with any program, any expression, you'll get it. Okay.
So where did you? Because I got my environment variable updated, but I'm not able to. I'm not able to get it. I added it. In fact, it automatically got updated. The bin folder automatically got updated with the path parameter.
Yep. That is one of the observation. And some of the Windows 10 and above operating systems now, that's what I have observed. Like any new installations that are happening, so some of the OS editions are adding these bin directories directly to the path environment variable. And if that is the case, then you are good enough, and you can type the Scala and see that from the command.
Okay, let's take it offline. After the class, we'll take it offline.
Okay. Yeah. So Dhruva also got it even for Windows 7 as well. Okay. Yep.
Shiva, can you go back to the environmental path settings again? Or do we need the software to be installed today, or I can do it later?
You can do it later, not a problem. This is, kind of like I will be showing today And my expectation is that you follow these instructions and you start practicing after the session.
Oh, okay.
Not like, not like you are doing right away and stopping me because that slows down things.
Yep.
And
Okay. All right. Then
you,
go ahead, please.
yep. So, if you get without adding the path bin folder to the path environment variable, that's well and good. So, for some of the operating systems where you are not getting this, so then try adding that bin folder to your path environment variable. Then you try with these two commands, Scala version. If you get response, that's enough that you have installed Scala successfully. And you can open your shell and you can start typing any of simple expressions or something. Okay. And so this is, if you have simple commands or lines of code that you want to practice, you can practice in Scala shell. Or if you want to practice on your project IDEs, so we do have Eclipse IDE for Scala, but if you have already Java EE supported Eclipse, on that also you can get Scala plugin, but that is having some bugs and issues. That's the reason Scala community itself recommends you to download Scala IDE, its own separate Scala IDE, on which you can do your Java programming also. I'll show you that. So Scala IDE.org download /sdk.html. Okay. So from here you will get the Eclipse. So just download that Eclipse for Scala. And once you install this 64-bit, mostly all your operating systems will be 64 bits. So download this one and install it. Mostly it might be a zip file. You don't even need to install like any .exe files. You just have to unzip that. That's it. Something like this. So once you extract that Scala IDE Eclipse, you'll find something this way. And if you click on this eclipse.exe, Eclipse will get open for you. I just created a shortcut for that. Then you can see shortcut in F apps Scala IDE Eclipse. Okay. So this is more in real time. Like if you have 2-3 lines of code, and you can even test them in command prompt Scala shell, or if you want to test it in your Eclipse, that's up to your wish. Okay, there is nothing much to differentiate there. Okay, now this is by default you will get with Scala perspective open. Otherwise, you can go to Window and Other. Just select your Scala perspective, the Scala default. Okay, Scala is the default if you open this Eclipse. Okay, now to get started with your practicing, just go to File, New, and Scala project. So create any test Scala. By the way, it's my test workspace. That's why you see all the test projects only here. Okay. Okay, I'm creating Scala test project. Okay. So once I create the Scala test project, in Scala components, if you want to create, so these many things are there. Okay. So we'll learn these stuff one by one, and no need to hurry. First, we'll start with Scala worksheet. This is same as your Scala shell. You can run your commands and you can test in Eclipse also the same way. And after that, we'll try to see running the applications with the help of Scala class, trait, object, and Scala app. Scala package objects, it's a not much useful component in my opinion. So at least I didn't use it much. Okay. So these are the Scala components, Scala specific to Scala. Okay. So first to start with worksheet. So this is a test worksheet. So if I create this, so it's giving you, it's creating an object SWS and println all this stuff. Let's not worry about this line. We'll talk about that later. But here also, if you want to practice anything, just the same expression that I ran there, just 2 plus 3. And if you want to run this, select the piece of code that you want to run and click on this run selection in Scala interpreter. Okay. So this command, this expression is executed and you got your result, and that result is named as res0 and its value is 5. Okay. Same as your Scala shell on here. 2 plus 3, you got your result back. Okay. So anything that you want to practice now, you have 2 options. Either you do it in Scala worksheet or you do it on Scala shell on the command prompt. Okay. Now, we'll discuss that. We'll come to that. Okay. We didn't. Yeah. We'll come to what is res0 and all that stuff. And anything to start with the basic hello world. Either if you have to make your Scala code runnable, there are 2 ways. One is, obviously you need an object in Scala. With just class, it is not possible because everything is an object in Scala. So you need an object to be created. So object and give your object name. And if you have to make that object as executable component, then it should either extend app. We will talk more about this. What is app and why do we need to extend on this stuff? Or we should have a main method, either extending app, or we should have a main method inside your object. Okay. So other than Scala worksheet, if you want to execute anything, other than in Scala worksheet. Okay. So we'll see that. If you have to make a simple other than worksheet, so if you have to make simple Scala program that needs to be running, so you create a Scala object. So we'll create hello world object. So as I'm telling you, to make it runnable, or if you want to see just and println. Okay. So here, semicolon is optional, and yep, that's it. And system.out.println, right? The same. you can directly use println here. So we have println method that is available. If I try to execute this, so run as Scala application. Same like your Java programs, just by saving here, they will get compiled automatically from your Eclipse. And if you want to run them, right click and run as Scala application. But here I'm not getting that option of running as a Scala application. The reason is this is not extending an app. So once it extends app, so now you got the option of running it as a Scala application. Okay, so this is one way. Or inside this hello world, you define a main method. Same like in Java, we have to write a class, and inside that public static void main. That is mandatory to start with any programming, right? Same here. So def main, let's say args. This should be an array, same as your Java, array of string. So if I write my logic inside my main method, or if I have at least one main method, only one main method, of course. So if you have main method inside your object, then you can run this as a Scala application. Just run it, and so hello old Scala. Okay, this is two simple. And the same, if you have outside of IDE, and if you want to compile them through the command prompt, which one is recommended as per programming standard? Programming standard, obviously you will do it through defining them in objects and building them as projects and jars, and then only you will execute. This test worksheet and shell, these are just for your practicing purpose. Okay, those are temporary practicing purpose. Okay. Now, if you have that .scala file available in outside, maybe if you have in somewhere in your C drive, let's just, I'm thinking. So you'll not use this, but same like in your Java compilation. Let's say if I have my Scala hello old dot Scala, the same line of code. If I have to compile this, okay. So Control D makes you come out of this. So compilation command is Scala C, same like your Java C. So once you compile this, you'll get your .class file generated there, the same location.
Shiva, can we run Scala? Or can we use, instead of command prompt, can we use any other SSH client or anything, or it's just command prompt that we got to use?
For compilation?
Yeah, not for compilation, for even for writing or anything. Like, do we have to use
for writing? For writing, we have this Eclipse IDE, right?
Yeah, but can we use the normal SSH client like MobXterm or anything like that?
SSH client. Not sure. SSH client where I'm not getting exactly the
She's
question.
asking like a Linux host.
Any of
Okay.
the,
Yeah.
You can run and install on Linux also, same stuff.
okay.
See, I have provided the installations, setup instructions. Just download that and untar that zip file and put it in any folder in Linux box, and just open that Scala. Again, there you will get this Scala shell open as it is. As it is, the way you see Scala shell here, even in the Linux box on SSH client, you can open this. So is it for you want to practice on your cluster, on your edge node? If that's the case, you can just download on your edge node and untar that and put it in a folder, and then access that Scala command from the bin folder. You'll get shell opened.
You'll get the shell open. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So sometime I will show you on our quick start VM also. Then you'll get to know that as well. Now, at least we have seen 3 things. So you type you write your Scala program on any plain files and compile them through the Scala C and execute them through the Scala command. This is one option. Or you practice your Scala code directly in Scala shell in command prompt. Okay. And third one, in Eclipse, using Scala worksheet, you can practice a Scala code, or in the same Eclipse, using the original components, Scala object, Scala classes, traits, and all this, using the original components, also you can practice. Okay, so this is up to you. Mostly I don't prefer this one, these two, but this is up to you. Again, like you can, but here in the worksheet, the session will carry forward. And if you declare a one variable there, that the same variable you cannot declare in the worksheet. But if you are practicing it on just your shell, that shell will not carry forward that session. Okay. Now, so to get started with actual coding, so before writing any coding in any programming language, we should understand the data types and basic building blocks, control flow statements, if conditions, switch cases, for loops, arrays, strings, right? And functions or steps. So we'll get started with these first. Unlike your Java, whereas Java has support from primitive data types. If you know it well, in Java we have data types called int, float, long, double, display, right? So all these are primitive data types. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this. Primitive data types. And similarly, from JDK 5 onwards, in Java, we got wrapper classes on them. For int, we have integer. For float, we have float class, and for long, we have long, and for double, we have double. Okay, but these primitive data types, these are not objects actually. These are just, you should treat them as like a keywords. You should treat them as like a keywords in Java. They are not classes, they are not objects. Here, so in order to use these data types in collections and in generic programming, the primitive data types are not supported, and they need the wrapper classes. That's why JDK came up with this wrapper classes on top of this data types. And since Scala is more pure object oriented and everything is object in Scala, we don't have the concept of a keyword or primitive type. So everything is a class only here. Again, like these are val type, these are classes only, but while treating in terms of data types, don't treat them under classes. Okay, there is a little bit of confusion you will get here, but all these are not a simple keyword. They are just classes in the behind the scenes. They are actual objects, or instead of treating them as classes, you treat them completely as objects. When I type this expression here, 2 plus 3, here 2 is converted into one object of integer type, and 3 is converted into another object of integer type. And on this object, a plus method got called. Plus is a method that got called. Let's say this is equivalent to 2 dot plus of 3. That means if you take this one as a one object, which is 1, and on this you're calling a method by passing some value. The same way, the 2 plus 3 means everything is object here. 2 is an object and calling a plus method on that object by passing 3 as list. See, the same result you got. And as I was telling you, this dot and parenthesis are optional sometimes. So this is one of the case where you can remove the dot and parenthesis, and you can simply give 2 plus 3. So these kind of small things will make you confusing in the beginning of it. So that's what I was telling you. But once you get used to it, at least a month or so, then you will like it. And once you understand the concepts of it, then you'll find it's much better. Okay. Now, so here all these are objects. What I mean to conclude with this execution. Okay. The same data types that we have in Java, char, byte, short, int, long, float, double, with the same sizes we do have in Scala, but here they are classes. They are objects, not primitive types. And in Java, you might have seen the plus plus and minus minus operators, but we don't have them in Scala. But I equal to I plus 1, I equal to I minus 1, or plus equal to or minus equal to, these operators are supported. These methods are supported. Okay, and coming to all the data types hierarchy, we have one super data type, meaning the topmost level of all the data types is any. Anything that you declare a variable in Scala that falls under the subclasses of any. That's the topmost level. And nothing is the lowest level of this hierarchy. And yeah, let's keep these two aside because we don't use them much in real time. You will not encounter this much, okay? Now, under any, you have two categories, any val and any ref. So you should understand these differences for two reasons. Same like in Java, you have primitive types and you have object variables. If I have a class, a book, or if I have a class employee, and if we create an object employee even, that is even is also a variable, but that is an object variable. Whereas int I, right? So if I have an employee class or a book class and it has some attributes, if you declare book B1, this is an object variable, whereas int I is a primitive type variable. If it is Java, you will use all the lowercase. Int I, if it is Scala, you use capital. First letter capital, camel case. So in Scala, even though they are classes and you have methods on top of them, here consider them as a value type data types only. And they behave exactly similar to your primitive types in Java. And all your object variables behave similar to your any ref. Here, any val and any ref. These are value data types, and these are reference data types. Under value, you have all the numeric types, char, boolean, and under references, you have all the collections and any class, like just now I have shown you book or employee, and any, even including the string, comes under reference types. Okay, let's not worry about the other things here. So if you see, even in the implicit conversions that can happen, let's say this dotted arrows shows you the possibility of implicit conversions. If you have declared something as a short or integer and you are assigning a value from another variable which is of byte, then that implicit conversion can happen. Always the lower size variable can be assigned to the higher size variable, but reverse will throw conversion casting or conversion errors. Under any val, you can see all these numeric types: double, float, long, int, short, byte, char, boolean, and there is one thing called unit. Unit is similar to void in Java, and unit is not something that you use directly with variable. Unit becomes a return type of a method. When there is nothing to return from a method, we use void in Java. Like we use void set message, and you take the message as string message in Java, and you do some coding there. The same stuff, if you have to do in Scala, we use for functions, same as Python syntax. We have def and string message, and its return type is unit. Or even if you don't specify, that's fine, but if you have to specify, return type is unit when you're not returning anything. Okay, so that's equivalent to void. Now coming to the reference type, the right hand side of it, so all your strings and any collections that you use, list and all any other classes, employee, book, or manager, or product, or market, whatever the class that you define, and for that object variable that comes under any ref. Okay. So if you pass these kind of variables as a parameters to methods, they will be passed as call by value, and if you pass these, they will become call by reference. Same like your Java concept, we will again discuss in the methods. I will show you the differences. Okay. And any is the root of all the data types in Scala, and any val is the root of all the value types, and any ref is the root of all reference types. Nothing, subclass, null, and all this, nothing. It's the same stuff that we discussed. Okay, now, so if you have to declare a variable, if it is in Java, we know that we were declaring this way. Okay. Or I will directly show you so one Java program and one Scala program, so that way you can easily migrate here. Okay, so under the same Scala project, I can have both Java and as well as Scala. So this has a symbol and this has J symbol. Now here, just put them side by side and keep comparing so that it is easy for you to migrate if you have Java knowledge already. Okay, so you have hello world.scala here and you have test.java here. So in order to make this run, so just making Control Shift. Okay, Control Shift F is for indentation, so it formats that code with good indentation. Okay, the same the println, if you need, you just have to use without control space is okay. Now here in test Java, if you have to declare any variables, string str equal to Coke. Okay, and int I equal to 10. This way. Here we declare them. We have two types of variables, again like variables and constants. And variables we declare with var and constants with val. Okay, so for var, you define it as a var, and if that variable name need to be I, yes, you define it as var I. And what is the data type? Int, and what is its value? want 10. And semicolon is optional. And J, if you want to make it as constant val, and if you want to make it float, so make it 100.50 F. Okay. So this is the way that you declare your variables, either with var or val, followed by your variable name, colon, followed by your data type, and equal to assignment operator and any initialized value. Okay, then. So once you declare it as a val, if you try to reassign a value to that again, then that throws an error message saying that so reassignment to val is not allowed. Okay, for example, if I try to make this j equal to 200.50 f, it's throwing me, if you see, a reassignment to val is an error message. If you try to see in the shell also, you can see val j equal to val j float 100.25 f, and again j equal to 200.50. So it's an error message. Reassignment to val is not possible. And if it is a var, I can do that. Var I equal to 200.50. So it got assigned. Okay. So difference of val and var. Yep. So val is a constant, var is a variable. That is the difference. Once you assign a value to a val, you can't change that. And once if you have value to a variable, you can even reassign a new value to that. Okay. And variable data types. You can either you define it there by specifying the colon after your variable name, or even if you don't declare, Scala is a type inference supported language. It identifies the data type based on the value that you have given to it. Okay, and if you do not assign any initial value to a variable, then also it is valid as follows. And you can try with these kind of stuff, practicing this. Okay. These are simple expressions, just assigning values and changing them. And maybe if you want to declare a variable of any type, so you can do that. You can assign any reference type or value type to any. Var a equal to var a colon any, I assigned 500. So it accepted. Because any is a super data type for everything. And 500 is an integer value. So I can even assign that to the val type. But since it is an integer.
Is this case sensitive?
Yes.
Because A capital N Y.
Correct. So same like your Java. Java is case sensitive.
Yeah. Okay.
Same Scala too. Okay. And if you, since this is a 500 is an integer value, so you can assign this to any val type also, or you can assign this to int also. But if you try to assign this to any ref, because this is not of a reference type, the result of an implicit conversion must be more specific than any ref. So it is asking, I mean, you will not understand this error message clearly, but what it is trying to say is it should not be assigned to any ref. And when there is nothing to return from a method, as I was telling you, def function, it is taking a parameter a argument, which is of integer type, and it is just printing hello. Okay, or even if it is not taking anything, just def function. So let's not take anything inside this. And println. See? So this is a function. Anything left side of your colon is a name, whether it could be a variable name or function name, or right side part of it is its type, data type. Okay, so is function equivalent to method in Java? Exactly. Yep. So function is equivalent to method in Java. Yeah, so its return type is unit, and a method with return type unit is analogous to a Java method which is declared as a void. Okay, and this nothing and null, not much used in real time. Don't worry about them. And next thing, the string operations, or we need to understand these things. Same as your Java, of course, but you should, most of your programming runs around the string operations, because most of our data types, whatever we declare, so more than 60% of them would be string data type in any project. So good to have all the string operations. And same like your Java, even in Scala, we have a string data type. Again, that is a class, and it comes under that any ref, the right side wing. Okay, so this comes under right side wing, any ref. Strings in Scala are similar to strings in Java. You declare them either var, your variable name, colon string, this way, and assign a value to it. Okay. Okay. So here, hello is the variable name, which is of string type. It's assigned. And even if I don't specify its data type, that treats this as like a string only. It identifies that. This is called type inference. So as we are using same Java string object in Scala, we'll have the same methods features in Scala strings as well. And on top of it, we do have by default all these conversion methods. If you want to come into byte, you have just string, you have to call 2 byte, 2 double, or better option to identify any methods, list of methods. is from Eclipse. Eclipse is the best place to play with this, identify all these. Sorry, yeah, this is how I do mistakes. I'm using Java syntax. Okay, where str equal to this way. Now, if you want to find out all the methods on this, just str dot the control space on your Eclipse, you'll find a hell lot of methods. So all these are, so if you find most of these methods are imported from Java, java.lang.string, the same class. The same class is being used underlying here. You can call any of these methods. Okay, and this practicing your string operations is very, very, very important. At least for some of them, I would recommend you to start practicing them. Maybe a char at position. That is one thing. Concatenate with other string, concat, and contains to search for string inside string. That is, this can be used contains, and ends with whether this string ends with so and so a string or not. And if you want to compare one string with the other string, whether they two have the same value or not, we have equals, and equals ignore case, same as, I mean, all these are Java string methods only, but I'm trying to give you the purpose. Okay, so index of is something that if you have your substring present in your main string, and what index exactly, and at which character this is present in. Okay, looks like override methods from Java, exactly. Okay, so some of these methods, at least for your practicing, you get equals and equals ignore case and index of, and you try using is empty, whether that string is empty or not, and length to find out the length of the string, and sometimes replace if you want, or replace all, split by comma, or split by tab, or whatever you want to split that string into multiple strings. And if you want to take a substring from that main string, just only the first 5 characters, you can use this substring. Okay, and if you want to convert that into lowercase, you have lowercase, and this is already toString, you don't need to do that. It becomes maybe java.lang.string type. Okay, and to uppercase and prim, all these are from Java lang only. Okay, and these things are not much. And contains, count, distinct. These are related to sequence collections. Then we can, yeah, you can look at them once we discuss the collections as well. Okay, but at least whatever the basic operations that you can see here, you should be able to practice them, because most of our programming runs around strings. And some of these methods like drop means it drops the first 2 characters. Drop of 2 means, and how many are characters that you specify there, the first those many characters will be dropped. And take means the first how many are characters that you pass, those characters will be taken. Okay, but make sure that you remember this take method. We use this sometimes in Spark programming RDDs to take the first 2 records. Okay, so if you use it take on a string, you will take the first two characters. But if you use it on a collection, you will take the first two elements. If you use it on an RDD, you will take two records. The functionality of take is same. Okay. Capitalize means camel case. The first letter will become capital. So drop of 2 means first two letters will get dropped SC, and in the remaining three letters, so it took only the first two AL and it made it capitalized. It became A, capital A as L. And one difference between Scala strings comparison and your Java strings comparison. In Java, if I don't want to confuse you much, in Java, if I have, let's say, since anyway we have equivalent codes here, right? So I have a string str coke, string str2, again with same coke. Okay, and if I compare them, if I have to compare strings in Java, I should use the equals method on string. Okay, whereas int I equal to 10 and int j equal to 10. So if equals string 2, sys out both strings are equal. Are not equal. Okay, and similarly, if I double equal to j, both I and j are equal. Okay. Now, if I execute this, my main method, let me run this as Java application. So both strings are equal. This may not be always true. Okay, but unfortunately it became here. Ideally, the string comparisons, what is recommended that in Java you have to equal always check using this, because this may equal or may not equal the double equality. Double equality will check only whether they are having the same reference to the same object or not. But the strings comparison or any objects comparison, we should use with equals method. Whereas your primitive data types, you can compare with the double equal to. Okay. But in Scala, this is guaranteed that, so double equal will always work on, even on your strings, on your primitive data types, whatever it is. Okay. And in Java, that may or may not give you true. Okay. So if you use string str, new string of val, then it will not compare through. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So if I, as Raj suggested, Raj, I think. Yep. So if I created this through string, And if I compare this, both strings are not equal. Okay. So here, either you declare them with an object, string object, using the new parameter. These two strings are not even, this, the value is same, but they are actually two different objects. Okay. So since strings come under reference type in Java, and the primitive types, all the integers, floats, and this, the primitive types can be compared with double equal, and any reference types, you should not compare them with double equal. You should always call the equals method on them. Okay. But unlike that Java, you have two ways. Here both the strings and as well as your primitive data types can be compared with double equal itself, where str2 even if you prepare strings this way, well, s1 equal to hello, s2 equal to hello, h plus ello, even this way, if you compare them, this will become like a s1 double equal to s2, it returns true. Okay. This is how it behaves in Java, okay, and in Scala. Is there still a confusion? So when you are using string str1 equal to str and string s2 equal to s, then in reality they both are referring to same memory block, since string is immutable in Java. Yep. Yes, thanks, Raj. Okay, I got that. And if you create them with new string, that is a different object here, and they might not be referring to the same memory block. And the reference types, so in Crisp, if I have to conclude, for strings comparison in Java, we always recommend to use equals. Okay. And whereas in your for primitive types, you use double equal to. But in Scala, either it could be strings or it could be primitive types. You use the same double equal to. And one more advantage with double equal to in Scala is that, for comparison, it also checks whether one of your string is null or not. It also checks for both the strings for whether they are nulls or not. If it finds one of the string as null, then it returns simply null, value as false. Boolean, the comparison result is returned as false. Instead of throwing an exception message, null pointer exception message in Java. Whereas if you have one string in null, and if you try to compare that with other string value in Java, that throws a null pointer exception. You should check first whether that string has any value or not, then you should compare that. Here, you don't need to do that. So your equality operator will take care of that. Double equal to. Okay. And multi-line strings you can define here, but in Java you have to write them in ++ and stuff. But here in Scala, let's say if you have multi-line string here, This way we'll declare this in Java. But in Scala, we declare that as in a triple quotes. This is how you declare your multi-line string in triple quotes. Okay. Instead of double quotes, you have triple quotes. So you can practice this basic stuff. And type inference, just now we talked. You can declare variables without specifying the data type. Same like var or int I equal to 100, or sorry, var I equal to 100. This automatically identifies its data type. And if I declare this as a 10.05f, this will identify that as a float. If I don't decide that, it's a double. If I specify hello, decide that string. If I assign true, it identifies that as Boolean. So automatically, based on the values that you are assigning to your variable, it identifying the data type. So that feature is inherited from Python. So this is called type inference. Okay. There is nothing much in that. That's one good advantage, that at the time of variables declaration, so you can just give the value, you don't need to specify the data types. And you can have a struct kind of data type like you had in C language, or if you are from big programming language where we use tuples, right? So tuple can be a row of, or it's a collection of elements of different data types. So you can even declare some tuples. For tuple, whether it could be a pair or three value tuple, 4 value tuple, or 10 value tuples also, you can declare them. You can simply assign fields to a list of variables. Let's say v1, v2, v3, or you feel them as like a column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. And if you want to assign the values to them, so you declare them as Coke, and you declare them as Megamart. You declare third one as 100 units, and fourth one as $12 or something. Okay, that gets assigned to all the 4 fields. This is very simple, and it helps you a lot. So many places. One of the places is that if you want to return multiple values from a method in Java, you have to write a poso, or you have to write a bean class. You have to declare all these fields and getters and setter methods. But whereas with the help of these tuples, you can simply return just one line of code. And at the time of collection also, you can collect them this way. So now my column 1 is string type, which I accepted Coke. And column 2 is string, which is my store name Megamart. And column 3 is int, which is my units. And column 4 is which is my price, $12. Okay. So this way you can even assign multiple values at a time to multiple variables. And coming to the variable scopes. So any fields that you declare pass as a parameters to methods, those fields can be accessible inside that method only. So method parameters are variables which are used to pass the value inside a method when the method is called. And method parameters are only accessible from inside the method, but the objects passed in may be accessible from the outside. Means if you pass any reference types, but not the val types, then those might be accessible from the outside of it also. And method parameters are always immutable and defined by val keyword. We'll see the methods declarations now. So the scope of the variables inside the methods, how it is going to act like, okay? Any local variable inside a method that you have declared, they are accessible only inside that method. Okay. And all your local variables can be either mutable or immutable. Let me show you an example for that, then you'll understand more on that. Method parameters are constants and local variables of your methods are either mutable or immutable. Okay. And Scala is expression-oriented language. Everything is not everything, at least you can assign expressions also to variables. Okay. So val I equal to 3 is something similar. Something natural that you have seen already. But val p equal to, you have assigned an if-else statement to it. An if-else block statement, if-else control statement is assigned to a variable. That means this variable p will have a result of this if-else statement. And similarly, this if-else statement result will be stored in Q. Okay. If you want to try them, so val p equal to, or I will take this stuff. Let's not waste much time. And here, while practicing, the one thing that if you do it from here, every time you should run it as Scala application. But if you have it in worksheet, just paste it there, and whichever piece of code that you want to run, I should declare size. So val I equal to 3. Okay. So only that piece of code you can select and run it in the Scala interpreter. So this is the difference between testing anything inside your worksheet and inside your Scala object. If you have to test here, the only selected piece of code, you can't test it here. You have to run that entire program, and you'll see all these println statements and all that stuff. So here you can see, so I is 3, if I greater than 0, obviously greater than 0, now you have -1 into p. What? This if true, already given true, the hello is assigned to q, and that q hello is printed. So unlike just a values being assigned to your variables, even any other kind of expressions can be assigned to variables. A method can be assigned to a variable, and an if-else statement can be assigned to a variable, and yeah, a block of statements can be assigned to a variable. Okay. And an expression is a single unit of code that returns a value. A single unit of code that returns a value. Anything that returns and a value that can be assigned to a variable. So here you can see val x equal to 5 star 20 and val amount equal to x plus 10. So you can directly put this in val amount equal to this way. A block of statements also can be assigned to just one variable. All these things got inherited from Python. And the switch case statement is also very simple. You just have a match operator and case statements. Okay. So this is just an example. Or if you want to see this, you can find more. Let me remove this. I have my status code as 500. So some of my service returned that status code as 500. So I'm now just checking. So val message equal to which message I should print now. So even the switch case statement is also assigned to a variable, right? The result of a switch case statement is also assigned to a variable. Now, so the status match your case statements, case 200, arrow, okay. And one more difference between these case statements in Scala and Java, you don't need a break statement or return statement in each case statement. So after, if it is Java, inside each case statement, after all the statements, after OK, you should return. Otherwise, all the below case statements will also get executed if this case statements get satisfied, right? Whereas here, you don't need to do that. So just if one case gets matched, only that case statement will get executed, not the subsequent case statements also. And if the status 500 is matching 400 or 500, so error, the service encountered an error message and return this error message to this val. Okay, and you can also have a default case statement as well. Something like case underscore. Default. Okay. So if it doesn't match any of the above cases, then this is the default. The underscore. Underscore, you have to remember this underscore most of the times. It has almost all the places its context or its meaning is that anything. Case underscore means anything will get matched to this. Yeah. Maybe let me stop here for today. So tomorrow we'll discuss arrays, loops, and examples on arrays and break statements, and functions and all the function parameters. What are the different types of functions? So in functions itself, there are so many types of functions, function types. We'll discuss all this stuff. Okay, we may not be able to complete functions concepts tomorrow, but we'll try to see how much we completed. To quickly summarize what we have covered so far today, we just saw Scala installation, and if needed, a path environment variable setup. And once that is done, you practice your Scala code either through Scala shell or you write it into a notepad file and compile them through Scala C or Scala C and execute them through Scala command. That is second option. Third option, you download Scala Eclipse IDE and practice them in a worksheet, or you write an object and execute them as a Scala application. And after that, we discussed about the data types. So mainly two categories, any val and any ref. Val are all value types, numerics, booleans, char. And reference types are all objects and strings and collections. And we also talked about how to declare a variable, how to declare a constant, and how to assign expressions also to variables. And I think, yeah, that's it. And we talked about switch case statement as well. Okay. And tomorrow, let's focus on arrays and control flow statements, if else and for loops, and then we will talk about methods or functions. Same. Okay. In production, which version of Scala you use and version control? Do you use Git? Yes. We use, we have both GitHub, Bitbucket, and as well as SVN also. We were using SVN earlier, and now we moved to Bitbucket. Yes. Which version of Scala means? Sorry, I didn't answer your question. Right? 2.10. Okay. Yeah. Sure, Snehali. I mean, let's after this session, once we disconnect and you can connect back with the same ID, I can help you on your Scala installation issue.
Thank you.
Hi Shiva, this is Dhruva.
Yeah, Dhruva.
So let's say we have UDFs written in Java for Hive and Pig. So how far can we use them in Scala?
If you have written UDFs in Java, you can use them in Scala. Yep. And writing UDFs in Scala, it's very, very easy job. Yeah, we'll see that. Okay. I will show you how to write UDFs in Scala as well, for Hive or for Spark SQL. And whatever you have written in Java, everything you can call it from your Scala. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
All you need is
thanks.
the jar should be present there. That's it.
Okay. Thanks, Shiva.
Yeah. So this is what all we discussed for today. And for tomorrow's agenda is arrays, control flow statements, and methods. Okay. Any questions? You can try installing Scala in Windows for now. I will definitely show if you need for Linux also once we start practicing on our quick start VM. Okay.
Shiva, do you have any information, any document or something like that helps us to integrate the Scala with the existing Eclipse actually, not with the IDE which is available in the website?
We have a plugin for existing Eclipse also, but that doesn't work. That's why the Scala community itself recommends us to use a different IDE, and they provide Scala IDE website for this. That doesn't work actually. We tried a lot even in our projects, but we do have like downloaded these things only later.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yep. No need to work. Completely new to Scala and Java. Forgot oops concepts. Have to read it. Okay. Oh, okay. I will share you the very basic. I mean, like kind of ABCs in Java. That video with you also, Dharmesh. And whoever are interested for Java oops concepts, you guys can join tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, which means 11 a.m. for Eastern and 8:30 p.m. for India. Okay.
Yes, the
The meeting
is
ID I have pinged you. This one. This is the meeting ID that you guys have to log in tomorrow.
Hi Shiva, this is Sujit here.
Yes,
are you planning to take any sessions on the Hadoop clusters and more into the real environment, right? Broad kind of. I'm interested in that. Please include me in that.
Yeah, we'll sometime maybe I will include you in the Hadoop session when we discuss the real-time projects there on Hadoop. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
that time I will try to send you invite. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So could you please go through with Eclipse once again after this session? Maybe tomorrow I will show you, or the video that I shared for on Java that gives you basic idea on Eclipse. Like, okay, Larissa, this is for you. I will share it with everyone. Not. And damage. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Share with me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's connect in 2-3 minutes. Back, Snehali, for your setup issues. Okay. Juneja. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Bye bye.